The stars were quiet that night. Admiral Tejo stood on the bridge of his old ship, the Brave Heart, and watched the darkness of space through the wide window. His hands were steady. His heart was calm. He had accepted his fate many months ago. Behind him, Commander Yuna checked the screens one more time. Her fingers moved fast over the controls. Numbers and lights flashed across her station. She stopped and looked up at Tejo with serious eyes. "Admiral, the enemy fleet is coming. 3,000 ships. They will be here in 20 minutes. Tejo nodded slowly. He did not turn around. "And our fleet?" 47 ships ready, sir. All crews are at their stations." 47 ships against 3,000. Tejo almost smiled. The Galactic Hegemony had sent their greatest force to destroy humanity. 12 alien species had joined together. They believed this battle would end the war. They believed they were attacking Earth's last and strongest fleet. They were wrong. Tejo's ships were old. Some were 50 years past their service life. Many were cargo ships with weapons attached to their hulls. The crews were volunteers. Every single person on these ships knew they would not survive this day. They had kissed their families goodbye. They had written their final letters. They had made peace with death. This was the plan. This was always the plan. The Terran government had spent 50 years building a secret fleet, massive warships called dreadnoughts, hidden in dead star systems where no one would look. The galaxy thought humans were weak. The galaxy thought Earth had only a small defense force. And humanity let them believe this lie. But for the secret fleet to work, someone had to die first. Someone had to make the enemy believe they had won. Someone had to be the sacrifice. Tejo had volunteered to lead that sacrifice. "Open a channel to all ships," he said. Yuna pressed a button. "Channel open, Admiral." Tejo took a deep breath. His voice was steady when he spoke. "This is Admiral Tejo to all Vanguard ships. In a few minutes, we will face the largest enemy fleet ever assembled. We are outnumbered. We are outgunned. We will not survive." He paused. Across 47 ships, thousands of men and women listened in silence. "But we are not here to survive. We are here to buy time. We are here to make them believe. Every second we fight, every ship we destroy, brings Earth closer to victory. Our families will live because we died today. Our children will grow up free because we held the line. I am proud to die beside you. Vanguard Division, prepare for battle." The channel closed. Yuna wiped her eyes quickly. She was young, only 28 years old. She had a husband waiting on Earth, a baby daughter she had held only once before leaving. "Commander," Tejo said gently, "you can still take an escape pod. No one will blame you." Yuna shook her head. "My place is here, Admiral. Let's show these aliens what humans are made of." The enemy fleet appeared on the screens. Thousands of lights, moving together like a swarm of angry insects. The hegemony ships were beautiful in a terrible way. Their hulls were silver and gold. Their weapons glowed with blue energy. At the front was the largest ship of all, the Eternal Dominion, commanded by Supreme Marshal Vexal of the Kathrani Empire. Vexal was famous across the galaxy. He had conquered 40 worlds. He had never lost a battle. He looked at the small human fleet and felt only amusement. These primitive creatures actually thought they could fight. "Marshal," his officer reported, "the human fleet is moving toward us. All 47 ships." Vexal laughed. His tall, thin body shook with pleasure. "They are brave, I will admit. But bravery is nothing against power. Destroy them all. Leave no survivors." The battle began. Tejo's fleet flew straight into the enemy formation. Lasers and missiles filled the space between them. The first human ship exploded within seconds, then another, but the humans did not stop. They pushed forward, firing everything they had. The old cruiser, Morning Star rammed directly into a hegemony battleship. Both ships exploded in a ball of fire. The cargo ship Iron Will launched all its missiles before being torn apart by enemy lasers. A small destroyer called Last Hope managed to destroy 3 enemy ships before its reactor went critical. Taiho watched his fleet die around him. Each explosion was a friend lost, a hero gone, but he did not cry. There was no time for tears. "Keep fighting," he ordered. "Every second matters." The brave heart shook as enemy fire hit its shields. Alarms screamed. Smoke filled the bridge. Yuna reported damage after damage, her voice never breaking, her hands never stopping. 20 minutes passed. 30 ships remained. Then 20. Then 10. Taiho knew the end was near. He walked to the communications station himself. His fingers found the secret channel, the one that would send a message into the deepest parts of space where the true fleet was waiting. "Wolves," he said quietly into the microphone. "The prey has taken the bait." The message was sent. His job was done. An explosion rocked the ship. The bridge cracked open. Stars appeared through the broken hull. Yuna reached for Taiho's hand as the cold of space rushed in. "Did we do enough?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Taiho squeezed her hand. "We did everything. They will remember us." The brave heart exploded. Admiral Taiho and Commander Yuna died together, along with every brave soul in the Vanguard Division. Above the field of broken ships and floating bodies, the Galactic Hegemony celebrated their victory. They had no idea what was coming. The great hall of the Eternal Dominion was filled with music and laughter. Alien voices sang songs of victory. Glasses filled with strange drinks were raised high. Creatures of all shapes and colors danced and celebrated together. Supreme Marshal Vexal sat on his command throne, watching his officers enjoy themselves. His thin lips curved into a smile. This was the moment he had waited for. The humans were finished. Their fleet was dust and debris floating in the cold void. Earth was now defenseless. Ambassador Thelrix, a short creature with blue skin and 4 arms, walked up to the throne. His voice was high and excited. "Marshal, this is a great day for the hegemony. The human threat is ended. Shall I prepare the surrender broadcast to Earth?" Vexal nodded slowly. "Yes, tell the humans their fighting days are over. They will join the hegemony, or they will die. There is no other choice." Thelrix bowed and hurried away to prepare the message. Across the hall, Intelligence Officer Silvera did not celebrate. She was a Kethrani like Vexal, but younger and more careful. Something about this victory felt wrong to her. She sat alone at a table studying data on her tablet. The humans had fought well, too well. Their tactics were smart. Their crews were disciplined. They had died without fear, without begging for mercy. Silvera had studied many species in her career. She had never seen anything like this, and their ships were old. Very old. Some of those vessels should have been in museums, not in battle. Why would humans send their worst ships against the hegemony's best fleet? Her thoughts were interrupted by the sound of doors opening. 2 hegemony soldiers dragged a human prisoner into the hall. The celebration noise died down as everyone turned to look. Lieutenant Minho walked between the soldiers with his head held high. His flight suit was torn and burned. Blood covered half his face from a wound on his forehead. His hands were bound behind his back, but his eyes were clear and calm. Vexal leaned forward on his throne with interest. "A survivor. Bring him closer." The soldiers pushed Minho forward until he stood at the base of the throne. He looked up at Vexal without any sign of fear. This surprised the marshal. "Human," Vexal said, "your fleet is destroyed. Your species is defeated. If you tell me where your hidden colonies are, I will make your death quick and painless." Minho laughed. The sound echoed through the silent hall. Many aliens shifted uncomfortably. No prisoner had ever laughed at Supreme Marshal Vexal. You think this is funny? Vexal asked, his voice growing cold. I think it's very funny, Minho replied. His Korean accent made his words sharp and clear. You really believe you won, don't you? Vexal stood up from his throne. He was tall, almost 3 meters high, and his shadow fell over the small human like a dark wave. I destroyed your entire fleet. I watched 47 ships burn. What is there left to believe? Minho smiled. It was not a nice smile. It was the smile of someone who knew a secret. Those weren't our real ships, he said simply. Those were our old ships, our retired ships, our garbage, basically. Every person on those ships was a volunteer. They knew they were going to die. They wanted to die. Because their death made you believe the lie. The hall was completely silent now. Every alien was listening. Vexal felt something strange in his chest. It took him a moment to recognize it. It was the beginning of fear. You're lying, he said. This is a trick to save yourself. Minho shook his head. I don't want to save myself. I did my job. I got shot down on purpose. I let myself get captured on purpose, because I wanted to see your face when you finally understand. Understand what? That you just made the biggest mistake in the history of the galaxy. Silvera stepped forward. Her tablet was shaking in her hands. Marshal, I've been analyzing the battle data. The human ships were using technology that is at least 50 years old. Their weapons were outdated. Their shields were weak. This doesn't make sense for a species defending their homeworld. Vexal turned to look at her. What are you saying? I'm saying the prisoner might be telling the truth. This might have been a trap. Minho nodded at Silvera. She's smart. You should listen to her. Vexal grabbed Minho by the throat and lifted him off the ground. His long fingers squeezed tight. Where is the real human fleet? Tell me now. Minho could barely breathe, but he still managed to speak. They're coming. They're already on their way. And when they get here, you're going to wish you had never heard of Earth. Vexal threw Minho to the ground. The human coughed and gasped for air, but he was still smiling. That smile was more terrifying than any weapon. Scan the area, Vexal shouted to his officers. Search for any ships. Now! Officers ran to their stations. Screens lit up. Sensors searched the darkness of space. Minutes passed. Nothing was found. There's nothing out there, Marshal, an officer reported. No ships within 1,000 light years. Vexal looked down at Minho. Your bluff has failed, human. There is no fleet coming to save you. Minho lay on the cold floor, still smiling through his bloody face. I never said they would come through normal space. Before anyone could ask what he meant, a strange sound filled the ship. It was like reality itself was screaming. The lights flickered, the floor shook, and on every screen in the Great Hall, something impossible appeared. Space was tearing open. Hundreds of holes were forming in the fabric of reality, and from those holes, massive shapes were emerging. Ships bigger than anything the hegemony had ever built. Ships that were black as night with white letters painted on their hulls. The celebration was over. The real battle was about to begin. 200 light years away, in a region of space where no stars existed, the true power of humanity waited in silence. This place was called the Black Corridor. It was a dead zone, a stretch of empty darkness that no alien species ever explored because there was nothing to find there. Nothing except the Terran Dreadnought Armada. 847 ships floated in perfect formation. They were monsters of metal and fire, each one larger than a small moon. Their hulls were painted black to blend with the void. Their names were written in white letters that seemed to glow against the darkness. Eternal Soul, Incheon, Busan, Dokdo. Names from Earth's history, names that carried the weight of human courage. On the bridge of the Eternal Soul, Fleet Admiral Yunwoo stood with his hands clasped behind his back. He was an old man, nearly 70 years old, but his body was still strong and his mind was still sharp. He had spent his entire life preparing for this moment. Captain Sora walked up beside him. She was 35, with short black hair and eyes that missed nothing. She had been Hyunwoo's second-in-command for 10 years. She trusted him with her life. "Admiral," she said quietly, "we've received Admiral Taeho's final message. The Vanguard is gone. The enemy believes they've won." Hyunwoo closed his eyes for a moment. Taeho had been his friend for 40 years. They had trained together, fought together, dreamed together of this day. Now Taeho was dead, along with thousands of brave volunteers who had given everything for this plan. "How many did we lose?" Hyunwoo asked. "All 47 ships. No survivors confirmed." The bridge was silent. Every officer felt the weight of those words. Those people had died so that this fleet could remain hidden. Their sacrifice had made victory possible. Hyunwoo opened his eyes. His voice was steady when he spoke. "They didn't die for nothing. We will make sure of that. Prepare the fleet for void jump." Sora nodded and began giving orders. Around the bridge, officers moved with practiced speed. They had trained for this moment for decades. Every person on every ship knew exactly what to do. Chief Engineer Junho appeared on a screen, calling from the engine room of the Eternal Soul. His face was covered in sweat and grease, but his smile was bright. "Admiral, all void drives are charged and ready. We can jump on your command." "How long until we reach the target zone?" Hyunwoo asked. "With void space travel, about 3 minutes. We'll appear right in the middle of their celebration." Hyunwoo nodded. Void drives were humanity's greatest secret. While the rest of the galaxy used hyperspace lanes that took hours or days to travel between systems, humans had discovered something different. They had found a way to slip between dimensions, to travel through the spaces between spaces. It was technology that no other species possessed. The hegemony had no idea it existed. They were about to learn. "Open a channel to all ships," Hyunwoo ordered. Sora pressed the button. "Channel open, Admiral." Hyunwoo stood tall. His voice carried across 847 ships, reaching the ears of over 2 million Terran soldiers. "This is Fleet Admiral Hyunwoo to all ships of the Dreadnought Armada. For 50 years we have hidden in the shadows. For 50 years we let the galaxy believe we were weak. We watched as alien species laughed at us, threatened us, and finally attacked us. We let them think they could crush humanity with ease." He paused. On every ship, men and women listened with fire in their eyes. Today, that lie ends. Today, we show the galaxy what humans really are. The Vanguard Division gave their lives to bring us this moment. Admiral Taeho and his volunteers died so that we could live, so that Earth could survive. We will honor their sacrifice with victory. His voice grew stronger. "When we emerge from the void, we will face the largest enemy fleet ever assembled. They will be shocked. They will be afraid. They will try to run. Do not let them. Show them no mercy, because they would show none to our families. Fight for Earth. Fight for the fallen. Fight for humanity." He raised his fist. "Today, the galaxy learns to fear the Terran Dreadnought Armada. All ships, activate void drives. We jump in 30 seconds. The channel closed. Across the black corridor, 847 ships began to hum with power. Blue light gathered around their hulls. Reality started to bend and twist. Captain Hana stood on the bridge of the Incheon, one of the fastest strike cruisers in the fleet. Beside her, young Ensign Daeho checked his targeting systems one more time. His hands were shaking slightly. "Nervous?" Hana asked. Daeho nodded. "A little, Captain. This is my first real battle." Hana smiled. "It's everyone's first real battle. We've trained for this, but nothing can truly prepare you for war. Just remember your training, trust your shipmates, and fight for the people behind you." Daeho took a deep breath and steadied his hands. "Yes, Captain. I won't let you down." On the Eternal Soul, Junho watched his engines reach full power. The void drive was a beautiful thing, a machine that bent the laws of physics themselves. He had spent 20 years building and improving these drives. Today, he would finally see them used for their true purpose. "All ships report ready," Sora announced. "Void jump in 10 seconds." Hyunwoo looked out at the darkness of the black corridor. Beyond that darkness, 3,000 enemy ships waited, celebrating a victory that would soon turn to ash in their mouths. 5 seconds. The blue light grew brighter. 3, 2, 1, jump! The Terran Dreadnought Armada vanished from the black corridor. Reality screamed as 847 ships slipped between dimensions, traveling faster than light, faster than thought, straight toward the heart of the enemy fleet. 3 minutes later, they would emerge in the middle of the hegemony's celebration, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The first sign was a flicker, a small ripple in space that the hegemony sensors marked as debris interference. Nobody paid attention to it. The officers were too busy panicking about the strange readings they couldn't understand. Then came another flicker, and another, and another. Hundreds of points in space began to shimmer like heat waves on a summer road. The fabric of reality twisted and groaned. Strange colors that had no name appeared in the void, swirling like paint in water. Supreme Marshal Vexal stared at the main screen with wide eyes. His celebration had turned to chaos. Officers screamed at their stations, trying to make sense of what was happening. Alarms wailed throughout the Eternal Dominion. "What is this?" Vexal demanded. "What is happening?" Silvera checked her instruments with trembling hands. "Marshal, I don't know. These readings make no sense. Something is coming through space itself, not hyperspace. Something else, something we've never seen before." On the floor, Lieutenant Minho pushed himself up to a sitting position. Blood still covered his face, but his eyes were bright with satisfaction. "I told you," he said. "They're coming." Reality tore open. The first dreadnought emerged like a beast rising from dark water. It was the Eternal Soul, and it was massive beyond imagination. The ship was 5 kilometers long, its hull black as the void it came from. White letters spelled its name across the bow. Weapon ports lined its sides like teeth in a predator's mouth. Then came another, and another, and another. Ships poured out of the dimensional tiers like an endless tide. Dreadnoughts, void carriers, strike cruisers, destroyers. 847 warships appeared in the heart of the hegemony fleet, surrounding them completely. Vexal couldn't speak. His mouth hung open. His body refused to move. This was impossible. The humans were supposed to be primitive. They were supposed to have only 47 old ships. Where did this fleet come from? On the bridge of the Eternal Soul, Fleet Admiral Hyunwoo looked at the enemy fleet with cold eyes. 3,000 hegemony ships were now trapped inside a circle of Terran steel. They were confused, panicking, their formation completely broken. "Captain Sora," Hyunwoo said calmly, "open a channel to the enemy fleet." Sora pressed the button. "Channel open, Admiral." Hyunwoo's voice echoed across every hegemony ship. "This is Fleet Admiral Hyunwoo of the Terran Dreadnought Armada. You came to destroy humanity. You killed our volunteers. You celebrated their deaths. Now face the consequences." He paused. "You have 60 seconds to surrender. If you do not, we will destroy every ship in your fleet. There will be no mercy. There will be no escape. The choice is yours." The channel closed. 60 seconds passed in terrible silence. No hegemony ship surrendered. Perhaps they were too proud. Perhaps they thought they could still win. Perhaps they were simply too shocked to respond. Hyunwoo shook his head slowly. They made their choice. All ships opened fire. The void lit up with destruction. On the Incheon, Captain Hana leaned forward in her command chair. "Ensign Deho, target the nearest battleship cluster. Full spread, all weapons." Deho's fingers flew across his controls. Targeting data filled his screen. 30 enemy ships locked. "Targets acquired, Captain." "Fire!" The Incheon unleashed its fury. Plasma cannons roared. Missiles streaked through space. Railguns fired metal slugs at incredible speeds. The targeted hegemony ships had no time to react. Their shields flickered and died. Their hulls cracked and broke. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers. All around the battlefield, the same scene repeated. Terran Dreadnoughts carved through hegemony ships like hot knives through butter. The aliens tried to fight back, but their weapons couldn't penetrate Terran shields. They tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. The Armada had surrounded them completely. Supreme Marshal Vex'Al finally found his voice. "All ships, return fire! Concentrate on the largest enemy vessels! We can still win this!" But his orders meant nothing. Hegemony ships fired thousands of shots at the Terran Dreadnoughts. Blue energy beams and golden missiles struck the black hulls again and again. Nothing happened. The Terran shields absorbed everything. Then the Dreadnoughts returned fire. One shot from the Eternal Soul's main cannon destroyed Vex'Al's flagship defense squadron. 12 ships gone in a single blast. The Marshal stared at the screen in horror. "This is impossible," he whispered. "No species has technology this advanced." Lieutenant Minho laughed from the floor. "Humans spent 50 years hiding in the shadows, building in secret, preparing for this day. Did you really think we were primitive? Did you really think we couldn't fight? We let you believe the lie because we knew you would come eventually. And we wanted you to come with your biggest fleet, your best ships, your strongest warriors. We wanted to crush you completely." Carrier bays opened across the Terran fleet. Thousands of fighters poured out, filling space like angry swarms. Terran pilots who had trained their entire lives for this battle finally got their chance to fly and fight. The hegemony fighters tried to intercept them, but they were outmatched in every way. Terran ships were faster, stronger, and piloted by crews who fought with the fury of people defending their home. Ambassador Thelrix grabbed Vex'Al's arm with all 4 hands. "Marshal, we must retreat. We must save what ships we can." Vex'Al looked at the battle around him. Half his fleet was already destroyed. The rest were dying fast. He had never lost a battle in his entire life. He had conquered 40 worlds, and now, in a single hour, humans had shown him what true power looked like. "Sound the retreat," he said, his voice dead. "All ships, fall back." But it was too late. The Terran Armada had closed every escape route. Dreadnoughts blocked every direction. There was no way out. Captain Hana watched the enemy ships try to flee. She felt no joy, no satisfaction, only duty. "Don't let them escape," she ordered. "We end this today." The battle continued. One by one, hegemony ships fell. Their proud golden hulls cracked and burned. Their crews died screaming in the cold void. The galaxy's greatest fleet was being reduced to dust and memory. On the floor of the Eternal Dominion, Lieutenant Minho watched the destruction through the viewing window. He thought of Admiral Tejo. He thought of Commander Yuna. He thought of every brave soul who had died in the Vanguard Division. "We did it," he whispered. "Your sacrifice meant something." Tears rolled down his bloody face. But he was smiling. Humanity had announced its presence to the galaxy. And the galaxy would never forget this day. 3 hours after the Terran Dreadnought Armada emerged from the void, the battle was over. The silence that followed was almost painful. Where 3,000 hegemony ships had once filled the space, now only debris and wreckage remained. Bodies floated among the broken metal. Fire still burned in some hulls, fed by leaking oxygen. Of the mighty hegemony fleet, fewer than 400 ships survived. All of them were disabled, their weapons destroyed, their engines dead. They drifted helplessly, waiting for whatever fate the humans would give them. Fleet Admiral Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of the Eternal Soul, looking at the destruction with tired eyes. He had won. Humanity had won, but victory always came with a cost, and the cost of this day was heavy. "Report," he said quietly. Captain Sora checked her data. Enemy casualties are approximately 90%. We have disabled 387 enemy vessels. 28 of their command ships are intact enough to board. Our own losses are minimal. 12 fighters lost. 2 destroyers damaged. No capital ships destroyed. Hyunwoo nodded slowly. 12 pilots dead. 12 families that would receive terrible news. Even in victory, there was loss. And the enemy command ship? He asked. The Eternal Dominion is disabled but intact. Supreme Marshal Vex-All is still aboard. Our boarding teams are ready. Good. I will go personally. Sora looked at him with surprise. Admiral, is that wise? It could be dangerous. Hyunwoo smiled slightly. I need to deliver a message. Some messages must be delivered in person. 30 minutes later, Hyunwoo walked through the broken corridors of the Eternal Dominion. Terran soldiers surrounded him, their weapons ready, their eyes watching for any threat. But there was no resistance. The hegemony crew had surrendered completely. They sat against walls with their hands on their heads, their eyes empty with shock. The great celebration hall was now a ruin. Tables were overturned, glasses were shattered. The beautiful decorations had been torn apart by explosions and fighting. Smoke hung in the air like a gray ghost. In the center of the hall, Supreme Marshal Vex-All knelt on the floor. His hands were bound behind his back. His proud uniform was torn and dirty. His eyes stared at nothing. Beside him knelt Ambassador Thelrix and Intelligence Officer Silvera. Other hegemony leaders were lined up along the wall, all bound, all defeated. And standing nearby, supported by 2 Terran medics, was Lieutenant Minho. His wounds had been treated, but bandages still covered half his face. He refused to leave until he saw this moment. Hyunwoo walked slowly toward Vex-All. His boots echoed in the silent hall. He stopped directly in front of the kneeling marshal and looked down at him. Supreme Marshal Vex-All, Hyunwoo said, you came to conquer Earth. You came to enslave humanity. You came to celebrate our destruction. Vex-All raised his eyes. There was no pride left in them, only fear and confusion. How? He whispered. How did you hide such a fleet? How did you develop such technology? We watched your species for decades. We saw nothing. You saw what we wanted you to see, Hyunwoo replied. Humanity learned long ago that the galaxy is not a friendly place. Species like yours conquer and enslave without mercy. So we prepared, in secret, in silence. We built our true strength where no one would look. He leaned closer. But more importantly, you made a mistake that all conquerors make. You underestimated your enemy. You saw humans as weak because we didn't display our power openly. You thought our kindness was weakness. You thought our patience was fear. Hyunwoo straightened. Now you know the truth. Humanity is not weak. Humanity was simply waiting. Vex-All's voice cracked. What will you do now? Will you destroy our homeworlds? Will you enslave our people? Will you take revenge for the war we started? The hall fell completely silent. Every prisoner, every soldier, every officer waited for the answer. Hyunwoo was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke. No. Vex-All blinked in confusion. No? We will not destroy your worlds. We will not enslave your people. We will not commit genocide, no matter how much you might deserve it. Hyunwoo's voice was calm but firm. We are not like you. Humanity does not erase species. We do not conquer for the sake of conquest. We defend our home, and we punish those who threaten it, but we do not become the monsters we fight against. He turned to address all the prisoners. You will return to your hegemony. You will tell your leaders what happened here. You will tell them that Earth is no longer defenseless. You will tell them that the Terran Dreadnought Armada exists, and it will protect humanity forever. He paused. And you will tell them this. If any species ever threatens Earth again, If any fleet ever approaches our home with hostile intentions, we will not defend. We will attack. We will come to your worlds, to your stations, to your shipyards, and we will destroy everything you have built. We will end your civilization in a single night." His eyes were cold as winter. "This is your only warning. There will not be another." Vexal lowered his head. For the first time in his long life, he had no words. 3 days later, the surviving hegemony ships were released. They limped back to their territories, carrying the message that humanity had given them. Across the galaxy, species that had laughed at Earth now trembled in fear. On Earth, the news of the victory spread like wildfire. People danced in the streets. Families cried with relief. The hidden fleet was hidden no more, and humanity finally stood proud among the stars. In the capital city, a new memorial was built. It was a wall of black stone, carved with the names of every person who had died in the Vanguard Division. Admiral Tejo's name was at the top, followed by Commander Yuna and thousands of others. They called it the Wall of Wolves, honoring the code word they had used. Lieutenant Minho stood before the wall on the day it was unveiled. His wounds were healed now, but the scars remained. He reached out and touched Tejo's name, feeling the cold stone beneath his fingers. "We did it, Admiral," he whispered. "Your sacrifice saved us all." Beside him stood Captain Hana, Ensign Deho, and Chief Engineer Junho. They had become friends during the long journey back to Earth, bonded by the battle they had shared. Junho raised a glass of soju. "To the Vanguard," he said. Hana raised her glass. "To the ones who held the line." Daiho added, "To humanity." Minho lifted his glass last. "And to the galaxy, who finally learned what humans are made of." They drank together as the sun set over the memorial, casting long shadows across the names of the fallen. The war was over. A new era had begun. And somewhere among the stars, the Terran Dreadnought Armada kept watch, silent and powerful, ready to defend humanity forever. The galaxy had celebrated too soon. They would never make that mistake again.